He was like, oh, okay, you know, where were you on break? I was like, oh, I stayed in like the store or whatever. Cause he was like, oh, okay, like I didn't see you walk out to your car or whatever on break. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't do it. He was like, why are you trying to dodge me? I'm like, no, not necessarily. Yes, that was the case. I was trying to dodge him, like, you know. He was like, okay, well, I have to talk to you. I was like, okay, well, sir, it's really late at night. Like, I really don't feel safe right now, and I honestly want to go home. He was like, why don't you feel safe? We've been talking for the past couple of months. Mind you, he's been coming in since January. So I was like, oh, he's like, well, we've been talking for the past couple of months. Like, why don't you feel safe or whatever? And I'm like, because like I don't really know you. It was like 12 o'clock at night. Like, you know, we're in the parking lot. Like, this isn't the vibe. Like, you know what I mean? This is not a cool vibe. It's like giving scary movie. Like, no. So he was like, oh, well, what will make you feel safe? Do you want to sit in my car and talk? I was like, no. He was like, well, what will make you feel safe? And I was like, going home. That will make me feel safe, sir. Going home alone. That is going home alone. He was like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Like, I was waiting out here to talk to you. I was going to talk to you on break, but now I have to wait until 12 o'clock in the morning to talk to you. And I was like, okay, well, what do you have to talk about? He was like, well, come in my car. I was like, no, I don't want to go in your car. He was like, well, can I go in your car? I was like, no, it's my mama's car. Like, no, please just leave me alone. I didn't know what was about to happen.
So one thing to know, guys, is that women will reject you if you try too hard while pursuing them. Unfortunately, that's the way shit goes. You can do nothing about it. Alright, so quit complaining. Alright, just learn about it and move on. Women will feed you BS. They will tell you how much they like getting simped over and how much they like or they prefer for a man to go above and beyond, right? Moon and stars and Pluto and Mars and Neptune, whatever. Go to all those planets. That's the level of effort they want from you while you're pursuing them. That's BS. And in this video, you're going to see exactly why it's bullshit, you know? So without further ado, click the like button, subscribe, and let's go.
I feel like I always say I'm gonna quit my job, but after this I really have to. It's starting to get dangerous now. Like, who knew McDonald's could be dangerous? McDonald's, fish fillets, bitch, flipping burgers. How is that dangerous? Y'all, so literally this, okay, y'all need to keep it because this story's out.
Hold up, first of all, McDonald's, fish fillet, you name it, all these fast food restaurants, they are dangerous. I mean, I don't know why you would think that won't be dangerous because they're McDonald's. Bro, you know how many crackheads go in these places? I'm telling you, it's like anywhere else. Don't think it's heaven. Just because it's McDonald's, you won't have all these weirdos not invading that place, bro. They're just gonna be like, oh no, don't worry, it's McDonald's, we won't touch it. It's safe. Nah, man, McDonald's is as dangerous as anywhere else.
It's a lot, okay? It's really a lot, but my life is always a lot, so I mean, just keep up. So a couple months ago, there was this dude, he used to always come in. He was nice, he had dreads, he was somewhat like maybe like 5'7", 5'8", probably like my height or whatever the case is, right? He used to always come in, we used to always make conversation, right? So I think the first time he ever came in, like we was just talking, like I was asking for advice. I was like, do you believe in right person, wrong time? Like whatever, right? Because mind you, like I always ask.
Hold up. Why is this shorty talking so fast, man? Like that's the thing I don't understand. She's talking too fast, as if the cops are after her ass. Like what did she do? She seems like she's in a run, like she just robbed the bank and she's just running and she's hidden somewhere. She has to get all this message out before she's caught. Like I'm confused right now. Like it seems like she's running, but she looks like she's laying down. Like what's going on here?
Customers like questions because you're never gonna see me again, bitch. So like I just want to know your point of view and all that stuff, and like you just go on your merry way, like, you know. So I remember this one time we fell into this deep conversation. He left, but he used to always come in every time I used to work, right? So mind you, I never knew. It was probably like the fourth time I started realizing that he never used to actually buy anything, or he never used to even come in and pick up DoorDash. He used to only come in for me, right? So like everyone kept saying like, Alicia, like that, you know, that person never really comes in for anything, like, you know, he only just comes to talk to you. I'm like, no, he always gets DoorDashes, because mind you, like I used to always talk to him and I used to go on my merry way, and I never used to help him or whatever. So I never really knew if he was getting stuff or he was just there, like, you know. But someone brought it to my attention, like, oh yeah, Alicia, he only comes in for you, like, you know what I mean? Like he never even picks up the DoorDashes. You know, he always says he's DoorDash, but he never picks nothing up. He always leaves.
Okay, wait. First of all, she claims this guy was a nice guy from the beginning. You know, that's why she talked to him. She opened up a lot about her personal whatever issue with her man and all these problems she's been going through, right? So I mean, off the bat, the dude seems like a nice guy. Where is ours went downhill here is the fact that he just comes and he doesn't order nothing. Even after the 6th date or 7th, whatever date, he's over there and he's not ordering nothing. He's just coming for her. I don't know if you've been watching too many love movies out there, bro, but like this don't work in real life. Especially if you're gonna go to a place, make sure you're at least gonna order something, right? Even if you don't want to drink something, man. Order a damn coffee, a tea, whatever you gotta do. Order it, dump it outside. At least make it look like you were there for something other than her. The fact that he made it known clear as day that he's coming there for her, that's a red flag, bro. Like, you're gonna tell me you're gonna get out of your house, look at the clock, be like, oh damn, she working right now, she probably on a break, I'm gonna go see how she doing. Like, you know, man. Okay, you know, I can't even go deep in it and bash him. Maybe he was coming from good intentions, all right? Maybe he had a crush. You know, we know how it goes when guys have crush, man. Guys, they lose a sense of thinking, right? They don't have any logical thinking whenever they're crushing with somebody hard, right? They're just thinking with their heart or their ding dong. But in this case, my man at least should have been buying at least a little quarter-pounder burger, man. $1 something. Spend that money, man. Are you broke? You can afford a little burger or what? And the fact that you made it clear that you are there especially for her, that's a red flag right there, man. That is a red flag. But at the same time, right, I like to think you're a genuine guy. Maybe, you know, you enjoy talking to her, the vibe, you felt like you guys had a vibe, right? And so, I mean, that's kind of nice, man, right? Like, especially women nowadays, how they like this fairy tale kind of, you know, life. So this fits that fairy tale narrative, right? Dude just comes in for her. She's working at McDonald's. He's parked outside for 8 hours waiting for her. Like, what more could you want? That's a love story of a century.
He's done talking to you. I'm like, what? So I started noticing it. So probably it was like the 6th time he finally came around. Mind you, like, we kept talking about like my relationship at the time and all the stuff I was going through. Like, he used to give me really good advice. Like, I love talking to strangers about advice. Like, that's the one thing I will never stop doing. Even though after this I probably should, I will just never stop doing it because strangers have the best advice because, you know, they don't know you. So this one time he came in, I was like, oh, are you gonna order something? He was like, no, I just came in to talk to you. I seen your car out there, so, you know, every time I see your car out there, I come in. I was like, oh, how do you know what car I drive? He was like, oh, because I wait in the parking lot every time you go out of break to see, you know, where you're going, all that stuff. I was like, what? And I was like, mind you, in my head, I'm like, you just said that so openly that you just stalked me. Like, what are you talking about, right? But mind you, I don't really think nothing of it. I still don't think anything of it because I never think. Just leave it at that. I just never think, right? So it was probably like maybe like the 8th time he came in, I started noticing certain things. Like I started noticing like I see his car because, like, you know, he drive like a blue like Hyundai or whatever. Like I started to see his car around all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, so like every time like I see his.
Okay, first things first. Yeah, my dude, if you're going out of your way to just visit her at work and you're waiting for her on the parking lot for hours just for her to have a break so you can talk to her, it's a little bit of a red flag here, right? Like, that shows you don't have anything else going on in your life. You're making her a priority. And matter of fact, you should be good at reading energy. You should be able to know that maybe she's not feeling you like that from the get-go, or maybe you misread this signal. Just because she's talking to you like this about her boyfriend and all that, you thought that there is something there, right? Like, this is the one thing. If you want to put this much effort, at least please do your background check, do your homework first. Know for a fact if she's into you or not, because if you do this amount of work and she's not into you, now you look like a weirdo, like a creep. Like, matter of fact, like, you may not even be, but these women are gonna start viewing you like a really weird guy, you know, and all of a sudden that's not a good image to get portrayed as, right? Being like a creeper, weirdo, stalker. That ain't good, man. You shouldn't even be doing that. Matter of fact, if you were interested in her after the first couple conversations, you should have got her number, boom, and you should have arranged to see her outside of her work, not just keep visiting her in her work hours, right? And then you could have talked to her somewhere else, right? Have a little mini date and discuss and maybe see if there's something there. You just prolong this for too long. 6-7 days is like you're way beyond friend zone, but now you think that you have a shot and you keep trying too hard. Like, imagine how much gas you're burning to go there, bro. How much time you're wasting on that parking lot. Like, you're gonna put all this effort for a girl right there who has a man, who's complaining to you about her man, and you're not even sure if she's into you. Like, make it make sense. What?
His car is always parked next to my car. So there's one specific time I went on break, right? So mind you, when I go on break, like, I go to like a different parking lot or whatever the case is. So I'm away from my job or whatever. It was like the other time I was on break, I seen a blue Hyundai like parked up like literally like a couple of like parking lots and like parking spaces next to me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I never noticed it, mind you, right? So like I don't even know how long he could have been doing that because I really don't notice nothing, you know? Mind you, our conversation used to be very, very intimate. Like, not like intimate like me and him, but intimate like the things I'm telling him and all that stuff. Like, he would literally tell me like good advice. He was like, listen, you need to like, you know, you need to stop fucking with him. Like, you know, stop talking to this dude. Because at the time I was talking to some dude or whatever the case is. Like, he was like, stop talking to him. Focus on yourself. Self-love is best. But it was this specific time that made me realize that everyone always has bad intentions or other intentions. It's never just good intentions. Like, Alicia, I need to stop realizing that like, people are bad people. That's it. People are bad people. More of the story. People are fucking terrible.
Not everybody's bad, right? Just because, you know, you have a small fraction of men out there who ruin the image for the rest of the men does not mean the rest of the men are bad, right? There's good men out there, good men with intentions. You never know, right? This guy, he could have been the one for you, right? Because women out there, they always complain about how they're in abusive relationships, they're dating these toxic guys, blah, 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 this and that. But at the end of the day, when they do have a nice guy who's right there, who's doing everything they ask for, what happens? They don't like it. He gives her that ick. She's not into him like that. You know what I'm saying, right? So that's the biggest issue with dating nowadays. Women are like that. That's why, as a man out there, you're not supposed to be her problem solver. No matter what she's having, don't be her problem solver unless she's your girl, right? Off the bat, if you're just getting to know her and it's just, you know, you guys are doing a little chit chat, but it's not confirmed, like you guys are an official thing, No, man, don't be giving her advice regarding her relationship and this, because now you become the best friend. You're already friend zoned at this point, way deep in the friend zone. You can't even get out of it.
So this one specific time, he came into the store and he was like, "Oh, are you still fucking with old dude?" I'm like, "Oh no, it's complicated. Whatever the case is, whatever. It's not complicated no more, but it was complicated." He was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, it's complicated. Whatever the case is." He was like, "Okay, well, when you finish fucking with him, like, come fuck with me. Like, come fuck with."
Yo, that's the one thing you never want to say. You never want to tell her when she stops messing with her dude to come mess with you. That means you're down to be like a side piece. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna wait for her to finish messing with her dude to come mess with you. You know, like, you should leave it on her. If she decides to mess with you, it's on her. You know, you just gotta play your cards right? Do not be telling her, like, you know, come mess with me, you know, I'm better than him, I'll treat you right. No. You ain't gotta be doing that. That's why a lot of you guys be talking too much and you're ruining your chances.
A real nigga, I was like, "Sir, you come to McDonald's every day to come and see me?" He was like, "Oh yeah, because I like talking to you and all this stuff. Every time I see your car out there, I'd be like, oh, we're gonna have a good conversation. It's a good vibe. Like, you know what I mean?" I'm like, "Sir."
So hold up. So you guys are telling me you guys have been talking like at least 6 times, 6 separate days or whatever, and you guys don't even know each other's name? Like, huh? What kind of conversation is this? Like, I think that's the minimum requirements, at least knowing each other's names. That's an introduction right there. Dude doesn't even know your name, you don't even know his name, but yet you've been talking for a minute.
"I don't even know your name." He was like, so I was like, "What's your name?" And he was like, "Oh, it starts with a Q or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, I'm Alicia, nice to meet you." He was like, "Oh, I already knew your name." And I was like, "How do you know my name?" He was like, "Oh, you know, I do my research."
Okay, that's a red flag right there. The moment that if she's introducing herself and she says her name, even if you know her name already, do not say you know her name. Right? You sound like a weirdo. And the fact that he said he did his research seems like he just went to Facebook and Facebook all the Alicias out there until he found her face. Right? Like, what kind of stalker stuff have you been doing, my guy? Yeah, I like to think you have good intentions, but your behavior, the things you're doing, it's kind of red flags, screams red flags all over. Even the way I like to see it, I'm trying to see this in a positive light. Like, maybe you didn't mean it in a bad way, but at the same time, she hasn't even given you her name, yet you did your research. That means, A, it could have been you went around asking about her coworkers and everything. B, you went and started, you know, Facebooking, Instagram, you know, you started researching all the women in your city or whatever, right? Or like, that's some creepy stuff, man. Even if you know her name, you have to at least play it like you don't, right? Therefore, she can introduce her name and you act all shocked, even though you already knew it. Come on.
Where do you do your research? This is getting scary, right? So I told him, I was like, "How old are you?" He was like, "Oh, 34. How old are you?" I'm like, "Oh, 21. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "What do you mean, oh, okay? Like, that's just okay." He was like, "Okay, well, when you grown now." So I'm like, "Okay, but I ain't that grown, bitch. That's a 401k. That's like starting to write your will on. I'm not that grown, for real. Hold on. I'm still popping bottles and popping pussy." So he was telling me, he was like, "Yeah, you need to stop talking to old dude. Like, stop talking to me now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm gonna treat you right and everything like that." And it really is unfortunate because that man knew everything about my situation. He knew a lot about me. He was like, "Listen, I know the type of person you are. I know you like communication. I know you like this, and that. Like, I could really help you out." But he only knew that because I was telling him that, because I was telling him that about my other dude. Like, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like, I wasn't talking to you for you. I was talking to you so you could help me with my other relationship. Like, it was just so unfortunate. Like, you know.
But at the same time, the fact that he knows everything about you and he knows what you like, what you're into, how you think and all that, that means he's a good man for you because he was paying attention to whatever you were telling him. That means he was actually like really interested in you to be listening, because we know a lot of men don't be listening, you know. There's women be telling men this and that, but it goes from one ear comes through the other, right? Because most of the times, what do men want? Men are thinking of just, you know, boom, taking you under the sheets. They ain't thinking about nothing else. But in this case, this man remembered crucial information about yourself. So that shows he's interested off the bat.
So this one specific day I went on break. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever the case is, right? So I go to my little parking spot. I literally like sit there.
First things first, how do you go on break at 7 o'clock a.m., man? 7 o'clock a.m., people are waking up. People are eating breakfast. How are you going on break? Like, are you starting work at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. or what is this? Damn. 7 o'clock a.m. That's breakfast time, and you're telling me you're going on break?
I go on TikTok or whatever, I'm scrolling, I see this blue Honda, and he's like pulling up, so I'm like, okay, I'm guessing it's the dude, like, you know what I mean? So he's pulling up close to my car, so I'm like, okay, so he's probably gonna get out and want to talk to me, whatever the case is, right? So in my back of my head, I'm like, okay, let me keep my doors locked and just roll out my window. So I don't know the man from a can of paint. Like, yeah, bitch, you might have dreads and all that stuff, but I still don't know you. I don't like you, like, you know? So he gets out his car or whatever, and he like knocks on my window. He was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm cool," or whatever. "How are you?" He was like, "Oh, I'm cool." He was like, "You want to sit in my car and talk?" I'm like, no, I'm on break. I only have like 25 minutes left. I'm lying, like, knowing I only take hours. hour breaks. But he was like, I was like, oh, I only have 25 minutes left. You know what I mean? I just want to relax with the case. And he was like, oh, how are you and the old dude? I was like, oh, we don't talk no more. He was like, oh, so you broke up with him? I'm like, you know, this is complicated. He was like, it's still complicated. I'm like, yes, it's still complicated. And he was like, okay, well, when is it not going to be complicated? I said, probably when I leave him. Like, what do you mean? Like, leave me alone. So he was like, listen, I care about your mental health. Like, I've been seeing you, and ever since we've been talking, your mental health has been deteriorating since you've been talking to him and all this stuff. Like, you're starting to question your work. And I'm like, boy, you do not know me. Okay, hold on. Maybe you might have been right, but you don't know me enough to be staying that in an Acme parking lot. Like, come on. So I told him, I was like, you need to stop like stalking me and all this stuff. Like, it's starting to get weird. Like, I put my trust in you too fast, and I apologize for that. I just do this with every customer. He was like, okay, so I'm just every customer to you. I'm like, yes, you are. Like, we didn't have a moment. We didn't have nothing special. He was like, okay, well, you're gonna regret it or whatever. So he gets in his car and zoomed off. Now, I did not know that this would not have been the end that I seen him. Okay, I did not know that. I thought this was the last time. You know, I put my foot down. Like, you know what I mean?
Hey man, first things first, if you guys are dealing with women like this who are giving you so much shit like this, you guys should leave immediately. Like my guy here, I don't know how desperate he is. Off the bat, if you know she's not even reciprocating your, advances, cut your losses, bro. There's, how many women are in the world. I don't know why you gotta take all her shit. Like, mind you, even though you are showing her you're interested in her, maybe you like her, maybe you thought she was attractive and all this and that, and even though you were there for her and listened to all her BS and tried to give her advice, whatever, chances are now she's made it clear that she's not into you and she's finding you a little bit creepy, a little bit weird. Alright, so this is your time to just go away. Oh, that's the answer you need to know, right? So, I mean, guys don't really know how to process it. Some guys, man, they're so bad at social awareness. They'll literally be talking to a girl out there who's not even responding to them. They be talking like as if they're talking to a wall. And they'll keep talking and talking and talking. I was like, she don't like you like that, man. Stop embarrassing yourself and putting your self-worth down to the graveyard, man. Just leave.
Okay, so this is part 2 of the other story about the dude that was stalking me or whatever, right? So he zoomed off in his car, whatever cases, and like I didn't really think this. I really thought it was the last time I was going to see him, but it really wasn't the last time I seen him or whatever cases, right? So the next day I had closed the store or whatever, right? So mind you, when you close the store, you come in at 4 p.m. You normally leave around like 12 o'clock in the morning, whatever cases. So it was like 12:20. I'm getting out the car. I'm getting out my store, whatever cases, and I see a blue Hyundai parked next to my car, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of scary. So mind you, I closed with 2 girls at the time, and mind you, those 2 girls spoke Spanish, so they really couldn't have helped me. So I'm really unfortunate. I really had to walk to my car and everything like that. Like I really couldn't sit there and tell them like, oh hey, can you walk me to my car, whatever cases. I couldn't do that because they didn't understand me, like, And at the time I wasn't thinking about typing it into Google Translate. I wasn't thinking about that. I just see him staring at me. Mind you, he didn't have tint, so I'm literally staring at this man staring at my car. Like, it's just too much going on, right? So I'm debating whether or not if I should go to my car, whatever cases, because mind you, like the 2 girls already left or whatever cases. So it's really already me and him. So it's either I'm out here in the open unprotected, or I'm in my car unprotected. You know what I mean? That I'm gonna pick my car, obviously. So I try to like watch my car, whatever cases. He gets out his car. He was like, okay, so hey, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I was good. He was like, oh, how's your closing? I'm like, oh, it was fine. He was like, oh, okay, where were you on break? I was like, oh, I stayed in like the store, whatever kids. He was like, oh, okay, like I didn't see you walk out to your car, whatever.
Yeah, my dude, like based on her recounts of events, it sounds like you are becoming a stalker. Like this is stalker tendency right there. Asking her all these questions, where she was, why she wasn't out on her break, what was she doing? Like, come on, bro. Like, oh my goodness, this sounds really bad. But I mean, I get it, right? You're a young guy out there, this is probably your first crush, or who knows, or maybe you're just unaware of how to approach. But it's still, man, take the hint. She don't like you, bro. Stop wasting time. What are you doing? And this is like in the morning, 12 a.m. in the morning. You get in your little blue car and you still pull up in front of McDonald's, bro. Even after she gave you all that nonsense headache and she already showed you she's not interested. Like, what are you still doing there? What's your ass still doing there? Like, where do you live, man? Like, under a rock? Like, maybe there's no other girls in that area or what? Like, she the only one in that city, that whole town, or what's going on? I'm a little bit confused, bro. Who would be putting this much work dealing with one girl? I mean, I say you could have found like 10 other, 20 other on that time span, but yet you're wasting your life.
On break, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't do it. He was like, why are you trying to dodge me? I'm like, no, not necessarily. Yes, that was the case. I was trying to dodge him, like, He was like, okay, well, I have to talk to you. I was like, okay, well, sir, it's really late at night. Like, I really don't feel safe right now, and I honestly want to go home. He was like, why don't you feel safe? We've been talking for the past couple of months. Mind you, he's been coming in since January. So I was like, oh, he's like, we've been talking for the past couple of months. Like, why don't you feel safe or whatever? And I'm like, because, like, I don't really know you. It was like 12 o'clock at night. Like, we're in the parking lot. Like, this isn't the vibe. Like, you know what I mean? This is not a...
He has a good solid point. Yeah, if you guys have been talking over past like 8 separate dates and over a month and you claim you don't feel safe, that's BS. That's bullshit. Because if he wanted to do anything, he would have done it on the first couple of times, right? So I get it though. It's the middle of the night, it's a dark little, parking whatever spot. maybe the lights are dim and all, and the whole vibe, and including his tendency to be like stalkerish. I get it. It can add to the mood, right? Maybe she wasn't feeling comfortable like that. So I mean, it makes sense. But at the same time, like, yo, you've been talking to these men for how many times? How long? And yet you don't feel safe? But I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because he's kind of giving that stalker vibe though. But at the same time, I call it cap, because all these times you've been talking, and if you didn't feel safe, you would have noticed it right from the beginning, right? Like if he was giving you really bad vibes right off the bat from the beginning, you would have literally been afraid of this man, literally ready to call 911 every time you seen him. And matter of fact, him stalking you this whole time, if this was a problem for you, why didn't you get like a restraining order right away? Why are you waiting so long? You know, like you could have just dealt with this right off the bat. But I mean, women, right?
Cool vibes, like giving scary movie, like no. So he was like, oh, well, what will make you feel safe? Do you want to sit in my car and talk? I was like, no. He was like, well, what will make you feel safe? And I was like, going home. That will make me feel safe, sir. Going home alone. That is, going home alone. He was like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Like I was waiting out here to talk to you. I was going to talk to you on break, but now I have to wait until 12 o'clock in the morning to talk to you. And I was like, okay, well, what do you have to talk about? He was like, well, come in my car. I was like, no, I don't want to go in your car. He was like, well, can I go in your car? I was like, no, this is my mama's car. Like, no, please leave me alone. I don't know.
Okay, my guy, okay, you gotta listen, all right? You already asked her what made her feel safe, and she already told you it's to be by herself, going home alone. But you can't try to push this any further. Like, you're just ruining it. You're right now in the pit of fire. You're already burning. You know what I'm saying? So you can't make this any better. You should have just cut your losses and just ended it right there and just stop even seeing her. She already showed that she's not interested in you. So I mean, I don't know what you're doing, what you're hoping to get out of this, but you're wasting time, right? And matter of fact, you're looking more and more crazy, more lunatic. You might end up in the psych ward not too long from this, you know, if you don't fix up your act. You know, this little creepy, you know, infatuations and being obsessed with her, like, it has to stop, bro. It has to stop.
What was about to happen? So he started getting upset. He's like, okay, well, you're wasting my time right now. I was like, well, sir, I don't want to waste your time or whatever the case is. No one told you to come out here. And I feel like once I said no one told you to come out here, he got really mad. He was like, what did you say? And I was like, well, no one told you to, you know, wait out here. He was like, well, don't you really feel like this is a nice... What did he say? Like, hold on. He was like, don't...
Yeah, she has a point. Like, yo, you can't be getting mad at her and telling her she's wasting your time, because you're wasting your own time. You've been waiting on the parking lot for how long? How many times? How many days? You've been losing sleep over this woman just because your ass is still in the parking lot there creeping with binoculars, trying to look at what time she's gonna be done her break, or she's gonna be done her shift. Like, you know, that's you wasting your own time, so you can't really take it out on her.
Don't you feel like this was like a nice gesture or whatever? Like, I know that old nigga's not sitting there doing that for you or whatever cases. Mind you, he wasn't, but that's not the point. Like, you're creepy. Like, I really don't know you. Mind you, you're 34. I don't know anything about you. Like, you know what I mean? You come in here, you stalk me. Like, why would I think this is cute? Like, you know? So he's like, so you really don't want to speak to me or whatever? You don't want to take me seriously? I was like, I don't want to take anyone seriously right now, honestly. And he was like, okay, well, are you and old dude stop talking? I go, y'all done talking? I was like, oh, we just friends. He was like, oh, so you're just friends. Y'all not just going to be just friends forever. And I'm like, yeah.
I get what he was saying too, right? Because a lot of women, they like men to be putting this kind of effort, you know, to be simping over them, show up with flowers, do all this kind of gesture. I know that's what women claim they like, but you see here, it's a clear example of what not to do. He himself thought that's what she's gonna like. Matter of fact, she doesn't. It's far from it. All right, so you're wasting your time and your energy, right? She's still obsessed over her man, her crazy man who's beating her up, or whatever, who's in prison. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know what you thought you were gonna get out of this, but you should just take the L.
I hope so. I hope I marry him. Spoiler alert, I did not marry him, but you know. So he was like, this is going to end both two ways. He was like, it's either you come in my car and we talk, or like, we're just never going to speak again. I was like, okay, we're never going to speak again. Have a good one, right? So I start to go to my car.
I find it so funny how he told her that this is going to end two ways. Either she comes to his car and they talk, or they never speak again. It's like, she's been making this clear from day one. Right? I mean, from like, I guess date number 3 or whatever, she's been making it clear that she don't like you, she ain't interested in you, she don't want to speak to you, she don't want to see you. So I mean, I don't know how you're gonna threaten her with this. Like, what are you gonna get out of it? Nothing. She doesn't care.
He like tried to like walk in front of me with a case, and I started to scream. Literally, I was all, like, I really started to scream. So what else are you supposed to do at that time? It's 12 o'clock at night. Mind you, parking lot empty. Like, what else are you supposed to do but scream? Like, I had no, mind you, I don't carry no protection. I don't carry no pepper spray, nothing, because I be living in my own world. I don't be thinking people are evil, but people are evil people. So he was like, oh, whoa, I wasn't trying to do nothing or whatever the case is. Like, you know, like, I'm like, well, why'd you try and walk in front of me? He was like, because I didn't want you to leave. I was like, sir, this needs to end right now. Like, you need to go. I'm gonna call the police. So I had like 911 like on my phone or whatever, showing him that I was gonna call the police or whatever case. And he was like, okay, well, I don't want the police like coming to me or whatever case. I already got shit going on. I'm like, all right, well then, you know, this will be the last time I talk to you. This is the last time I speak to you, whatever case is. You're gonna stop and you're gonna leave me alone, right? And he was like, yeah, because I was like, I would hate to have to get a restraining order. He's like, are you threatening me? I'm like, no, I'm telling you I will get a restraining order. This is like my second restraining order on someone, bitch. I'm not afraid.
It's funny how she says, I'm not afraid. But yeah, she was just screaming 2 seconds ago and ready to call 911. What? What are you talking about? Yeah, you are afraid. And here's the thing, right? This is what I'm saying, right? If you're approaching girls in the middle of the night in a parking lot, in a dark lit area, this is exactly what's gonna happen, right? She will be there screaming, calling 911. You're gonna be labeled as a weirdo. You're gonna bring a lot of problems to your life, right? It's not gonna be long before you find yourself in front of a judge or behind bars, right? Because maybe you didn't mean it, but what you're doing now is like creepy stuff, man. It's not what regular people do, bro. When you're doing these kind of things, man, it's kind of like perpetrator type shit, you know what I'm saying, right? So off the bat, you should have known that she wasn't feeding you like that. You should have ended it. Anymore, you see, when you try to push this any further, you see where you're getting yourself into. You're getting yourself into more and more and more shit, right? So if she decides to go and press charges on you and all this and that, it could actually become something. At the end of the day, she's a woman and you're a dude, and depending on skin colors, where you are at, you already know, man. Like, you don't want to be messing with the law like that over a woman, especially, right? You don't want to be going to jail over a woman just because you were so in love and you were, tripping over a McDonald's girl, and now you found yourself behind bars. Like, what in the world?
So he ended up getting back in his car and driving off into the blue Hyundai, and I ended up waiting a couple minutes, but I feel like I shouldn't have waited a couple minutes, but I started waiting a couple minutes because I didn't want him following me home or anything like that either. Like, you know what I mean? I took the long way home. I went back to my old neighborhood, and I went right back home. Like, it took the longest way back home, and like, he did not follow me or anything. Or I don't think he followed me. I really don't know. Honestly, who really knows nowadays,
Yeah, so, man, there's so much in this story here, but all I gotta say, it's her fault too. Like, why is she out here talking to people and kind of like leading them in a way? I mean, I get it. She was probably trying to become friendly and have a little chit chat, but like, people can take that the wrong way, right? This dude here, for example, he thought that you guys had a vibe, you guys had chemistry, and he thought you were reciprocating his energy too, right? So I don't blame him for thinking that, but I guess he misread, right? He misread the cues here, and he should have just immediately disappeared. But my guy here still kept on trying. This is what I mean. Like, when you guys are trying things and you see it's not taking you anywhere, it's best to just end it, quit, and move on with your life, right? Especially if you get rejections from women. Do not try to prolong it. I'm telling you, man. This guy right here, it could have ended worse. He could have been behind bars. He could have gone and arrested that night, all because of her BS, right? And mind you, she started this because she started talking to him from day one. If she had just kept her mouth shut and not even entertained him, she wouldn't be dealing with this, right? But then I get it. She claimed that, she was working, she was being nice, customer service, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, man, you already talked to this guy for how many times? 6 times, 7 times, 8 times? Like, you should have filed a restraining order from like day 3, day 4. Come on, you already seen these toxic behaviors building up, all right? So I don't know what to tell you, man. I hope you guys learned something from this, but let me know what y'all thought. All right, that's the video. Click the like button and subscribe. Till next time, easy.